Woody's roundup. Come on, it's time to play. There's Jessie the yodeling cowgirl. Bullseye, he's Woody's horse.
He's a smart
Pete the old prospector, and Woody the man himself. Of course, it's time for Woody's roundup. He's the very best. He's the rootinest, tootinest cowboy in the Wild Wild West.
Hey guys, it's great to see you guys again, and today in this new video we're gonna be talking about Toy Story. Yeah, I know this is completely something different, but as someone who did grow up with this franchise, I love the Toy Story franchise. I love Pixar, but we're not gonna be talking about the movie trilogy or how bad the fourth movie. Alright, we're here to talk about a certain theory. A theory, well, explained as, before Toy Story 2, and just put him in this little bag. This bag. Let's just put a bag right here, for example. This bag that was filled with beautiful clouds, symbolizing the more iconic Toy Story. Well, with a wild wrestling, yeah. That came with the company. So he took this bag, and then he basically went off and, well, just kept them in his room. And just kept them there as a plane or something. And just made Woody collect dust. And dust. And decades later, around like the 60s and 70s, he got older and became an adult. Since he got Woody when he was 8, eventually when he was like in his 30s and had Frank was. Yeah. Anyways, then Frank, his wife, we're gonna call her, she was left in store shelves for decades until like the 80s, but we're gonna get into that later. That'll be another topic for like Jesse's backstory and like another, and let's get back to Woody. So then after that, when Andy's dad eventually recovered, when he was recovering, of course, turns out the sad news was that the doctor said that he had to burn most of his stuff, which were Woody and most of his toys, but turns out he then kept them all in a bag, kept them all as a secret, and then years later, he then gave, when he recovered with his wife, him got married, and then they had Andy. They then after that gave Andy Jr., the actual Andy from the Toy Story trilogy that we actually know. Before he left them, since of course he became drunk during this time, since he kept going to bars, he of course gave Andy Jr., the actual Andy we know from the original Toy Story trilogy. He of course gave Andy Jr. his toy, one of his tokens, Woody. And then after that, of course, then he left them, and sadly he died after aborting a cruise ship. And then years later, developed this fear. Well, how about I told you? It started with the bag. Yeah, that same cloud, Wild West bag theme that I mentioned, that the iconic clouds and a Wild West theme. Iconic Toy Story clouds and the Wild West theme. Turns out he's worried about putting back in the side, which means he's not literally thinking of the bags. During that time, he still was that, but he can't clearly remember most of that stuff. But when he was like alive and all that, you couldn't experience that. But most of it, he just remembers pitch black darkness, since he was put in that bag for years, and the reason why he couldn't get out because there was anyway, shoot. All right, no, let's just get to the point. Anyways, okay, so it's 1995. Well, not whatever. Let's get to the point. All right, so it's 1999. Good, I got it right. Anyways. Andy is currently going to cowboy camp. Whatever. Sorry, cut out those bits of silence in the video. Alright, so Andy's now going to cowboy camp and all that. Sorry, alright, let's just get to the point. Anyways, Andy's now going to cowboy camp and all that. And Woody is, of course, excited, since it'll be the final time that him and Andy will get some time together. And of course, Bo does some stuff that I'll probably, but whatever, let's get back to there. Anyways, eventually, during the time when Andy comes in the room and Buster starts playing with Woody, and of course Andy gets got to them. He was afraid of losing his chance to be with Andy, because that's his one way to not being abandoned anymore. And of course, that starts off as fear, drifting off from who he was. And this is the start of course, what we call abandonment issues. And if you're wondering on how Woody has abandonment issues, even if he doesn't remember his abandonment trauma, let's get into it.
It's almost hard to imagine what it was like before he existed. While Bullseye is a fun addition, he has nothing on the other two characters, as the dynamic between Woody, Jesse, and Stinky Pete is really what makes this movie such a masterpiece. Each of these three characters present a unique perspective, having been shaped by their vastly different pasts and experiences, all brought together for one ultimate purpose: to be sent to a toy museum to forever be put on display. Woody, of course, doesn't want to go to the museum. He wants to go back to Andy's house, because he believes that a toy being played with by a child is the very purpose of a toy, and what they should strive for in life: to make a child happy. Stinky Pete wants to go to the museum because he believes that being in a collection is more valuable than being played with by a child. And Jessie wants to go to the museum for much more complicated reasons, but mainly because she doesn't see the value in being played with by a child anymore. So essentially it's 2 versus 1. And the thing I most like about this decision that Woody is forced to make is that neither option is inherently bad. Both sides give good reasons for why being played with a child is a good thing, and going to the museum is a good thing. But there's also downsides to both as well. Of course, Woody points out that the downside of going to the museum is that you'll never be played with by a child or loved by anyone ever again. You'll just be watched from behind glass for the rest of your life. Just a cool thing to look at. Sure, you're valued, but it's never anything personal. There is no relationship with an object behind a glass and a child looking. A child won't last forever. Eventually, children grow up and they don't want to play with toys anymore. Of what value are you then? And of course, Jessie knows all this very personally. When Woody tries to argue with her that being played with by a child is the best choice, and what he has to do, Jessie finally reveals why she's so adamantly against the idea. In silly things like that, she wanted to be a real woman with makeup and cool friends and cars. But you see, Jessie couldn't understand that. All she knew was that being loved by a child was her purpose in life. So when Emily forgot about her, all those years of waiting, she held out hope that it was just a mistake. Emily still really does love her. But when Emily finally finally did find her, she didn't still love her. Her only thought was that it was pointless to keep her, and it would be better to donate her off to someone else who could love her instead. What makes this so crushing for Jessie, though, is that she waited all those years in vain hope, only to have all her hopes and dreams crushed in an instant. She wanted so badly for something to be true, only to realize in the end that it wasn't. It made her completely rethink her entire existence. All that time she thought Emily loved her, when for a good portion of that time, she didn't. But at the same time, it's hard to hate Emily's decision, too. She'd changed over time with each other. And the sad truth is that not all friendships last forever. And often when friendships break apart, it hurts one person much more than the other. All these factors have led Jessie to believe that being played with by a child is pointless because it'll just end one day and you'll be heartbroken. All this time, Woody thought that Jessie just had something against him and Andy, but in reality, Jessie was just turning down Buzz for him to finally realize that he's wrong. Going to the museum is not the right choice, as sometimes it takes us feeling the consequences of making the wrong choice for us to realize that it was the wrong choice. Woody now realizes that going to the museum isn't the best option. It's the selfish choice. The choice that only benefits him. But being a toy is about more than just being loved by a child. It's about being there for them when they need you. And Woody at last realizes that the best option is to go back to Andy's house, but to also bring Jessie with him. Has managed to break a small hole in her hardened heart. But, uh-oh.
Wait a minute, you turned on the TV last night, not Jessie.
Look, we have an eternity to spend together in the museum. Let's not start off by pointing fingers, shall we?
You really are Stinky Pete, aren't you?
Prospector, this isn't fair!
Fair? I'll tell you what's not fair. Spending a lifetime on a dime store shelf watching every other toy be sold. Well, finally my waiting is paid off, and no hand-me-down cowboy be sold. Well, finally my waiting is paid off, and no hand-me-down cowboy doll is gonna mess it up. Finally my waiting is paid off, and no hand-me-down cowboy doll is gonna mess it up for me now. Buzz!
Help! Buzz! Guys!
It's too late, Woody. That silly Buzz Lightweight can't help you.
His name is Buzz Lightyear!
Whatever. I've always hated those upstart space toys.
It's Buzz Lightyear!
Whatever. I've always hated those upstart space toys.
It's stuck! What do we do? Should I use my head?
Port scenes themselves. The baggage section scenes of this movie are quite possibly the most iconic thing to come from this movie. The amount of creativity going into this movie is absolutely mind-blowing. You wonder how did they come up with this idea that the climax of the movie would be set in the baggage section of an airport. Stinky Pete tries one last time to prove to Woody that his stance is right and Woody's is wrong. But instead, Woody proves to him just how strong the power of love really is. If he is right and Andy truly does still want him, then he'll love him despite his flaws. But Stinky Pete could never understand the true power of the connection between a child and a toy. He has neither loved anyone or been loved by...
I believe you're on the wrong flight.
Woody!
Come on, Jess. It's time to take you home.
What if Andy doesn't like me?
Nonsense! Andy'll love you. Besides, he's got a little sister.
He does? Why didn't you say so? Let's go!
Whoa!
Hold it! There's a couple more bags coming to the terminal.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2...
Too late! Put them on the next flight!
This is bad.
Hurry! we gonna get out of here?
Over there, come on!
You sure about this?
No! Let's go! Oh no! Wheezy! You're fixed!
Oh yeah, Mr. Shark looked in the toy box and found me an extra squeaker.
And how do you feel?
Oh, I feel swell. In fact, I think I feel a song coming on.
You got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Yeah, you've got a friend in me. Baby, you've got a friend in me. You got a pal in me, and you've got a friend in me. You got your troubles, well I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and see it through.